back, everybody, to the Breakdown Podcast YouTube channel. My name's Corey, and once again with me today to help break down The Masked Singer, it's Vic.
What's going on, everybody?
I pointed in the right direction.
You did. Congratulations.
Before we get started, we do want to let you know we do have a show that we do every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's at twitch.tv/MillerKing_51. Come by and join the chat. We're talking the latest episodes of Flash and Moon Knight. But if you can't make it, we have the episodes available on Apple Podcasts as well as Spotify. And also, while you're here, please make sure to hit the subscribe button down below, as well as hitting the bell for notifications and giving us some comments and let us know what you think about all of our picks and who you think some of these people could be. And because all of that helps us out, and we really appreciate it. And we thank you. So, Vic, without further ado, let's break it down.
This week's episode of The Masked Singer starts out with Queen Cobras. And that S isn't there because of snakes. That S is there because I feel like I am 100% about what I said last week. This is not a single person. This is a group.
Yeah, my thought on it last week was that possibly those were just backup singers,
right?
And that because the song had backup singers in it, so they were just pretending to be part of the Snakes. But this week the same thing happened, but then at the end of the performance, there were two of them on stage.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, there was no clue package prior for any of these people,
right?
And it's also of note, there were no judges, so that was really good too. And so
prior to everything going on.
No. I mean, through the entire episode, there were no judges.
What
Did
do
you see?
mean?
You had judges in yours?
Are you? What is wrong?
Oh, that must have just been me pretending that they weren't there.
Okay. I was like, did you have some kind of a mental breakdown? Because I remember seeing them, but whatever.
No. I was pretending that they weren't there because
I got you.
By now we're in season 7 or
right.
something.
They've become white noise.
Yes, especially after last episode, and because I mentioned last episode, we apologize for it getting out late. By the time you see this, it will be out. So if you haven't seen it, please go back and check that out. So we do find out there. What was this one that had the heart and it said "Be Mine" or something on it?
Yes, yeah. So the after they do their performance, and then at the end of the performance, after the music is stopped, they continue singing in a cappella. That is a solid like clue, believe it or not.
Yes.
But after all
Especially
of it is,
considering who I wrote down, I'd say yes.
Okay, so after it was all said and done, they have this new mega clue thing, which is the well. Even though I heard Nick say the whale as well, and he said it 3 times.
And it
he said
like
whale
every time.
And I was like, dude, do you not know how to say the word well? Because you keep saying whale. And they even said, I thought you said whale. And I was like, I heard him say it too. So it's not just me. But the well comes up, they crank it, they pull out a box of chocolates, a big red heart box of chocolates, and it says "Be Mine" on the note. But yeah, so I was like,
B though.
Yeah.
With B though, I was thinking, okay, maybe they had a relationship with Be Real of Cypress Hill, or maybe it's Card. Yeah, because it didn't spell out B.
Okay.
It was just the letter.
Right.
So I'm like, okay, Be Real, maybe Cardi B. I don't know. Those are the only two I could think of.
You wouldn't know if that was Cardi B, dude. That
No,
snake suit would not have fit the same way.
Yeah. So, but there were clues, and fortunately, some of the clues from the previous episode were brought up.
Yeah.
And one of them in the past was 90s, and I'm thinking, okay, who could it be? My guess, and I told Vic before we started recording, for those that don't know, all his notes that he's reading off of, he's texting me all these notes. So I haven't watched the episode yet, so I'm ignoring
big old list of notes.
Yes, I'm ignoring all of those, and I wrote my guess down, and afterwards I went back and reread it, and my guess is mentioned in one of his, and it's En Vogue. Which the you mentioned the acapella.
Mm-hmm.
You and I both saw En Vogue live before the Super Bowl here in Indianapolis several years ago. So we have a connection. We have a connection to them if it is really them. So yeah, I'm going with En Vogue on this, and I'm gonna lock it in.
Okay, so I'm gonna give you mine, which, like you said, you hadn't read this and you hadn't watched it when I did. So we came to the same conclusions, but then I deep dive, obviously, you know me. So 1990 was the clue, and they keep giving these date clues, and I told you that. I know these date clues are just solid hints to a person in the storyline. And also their best friend clue was Holly Robinson Peete.
Robinson Peete. And I knew that something in my head was triggering that there is a connection between her and En Vogue.
Right.
But I don't know what it is.
And see, there's also something to do with the whole Bradley Cooper thing. And I was thinking Bradley Cooper as Bradley Cooper, but maybe it's not Bradley Cooper. Maybe it's Mr. Cooper. Remember that TV show, Mr. Cooper?
Hanging with
Mr.
That was
Cooper.
Holly Robinson Peete, though.
Yes, and if I remember correctly, I think that
they just started.
I don't know. There was one of I can't remember. I think one of them was on that show with them. I can't remember which one it was. I still have to look up some more. But I am also locking in Vogue. But let me give you my rundown of how I came across this. So 1990, right? I'm going 1990 is the date. I put in Google. I'm not gonna lie. I Google foo, and that's what I do. But I put in 1990 girl groups, right? And I came up with a list of 1990 girl groups: Spice Girls, Dixie Chicks, Indigo Girls, TLC, En Vogue, Bewitched, and 3LW, right? That's the names. That's the first things that came up. Yeah, that's the first names that came up. So Spice Girls, maybe, but they don't fit the mold, right?
No, you'd be able to tell.
Yeah,
if it was
very
them.
much so. Dixie Chicks, definitely not.
No.
Indigo Girls, have not seen any hide nor heard of them in forever, which actually makes them a positive guess for that, because this is one of those things that they do when they haven't been around for a while. Definitely not TLC. We'd know instantaneously. En Vogue definitely fits the bill, 100%. Bewitched, and 3LW. That could be, but I don't think it is. Now, moving forward with that, going to the other clues, I put in Batman and En Vogue, because I was like, Batman's obviously a clue in here. They were very prominent about it. En Vogue did a cameo in Batman Forever. Remember the scene in Batman Forever when the Batmobile rolls up and they're all the people are like the gang, the Skull Gang is like picking on some lady, and En Vogue comes running around thinking that they're going to meet Batman, and they end up meeting Chris O'Donnell in the Batmobile.
Okay.
That was En Vogue. So that would make the connection to Batman, which is why that would be on that cup. So I'm going with En Vogue, mainly because I think, like, if going into those guesses, En Vogue would be my number one guess based on the vocals and the acapella that they did at the end. It's definitely En Vogue, and I'm locking it in.
Now, I'm going to add on a little something else, too. If you saw me kind of over here messing around on my laptop. I just typed in Holly Robinson Peete and Dawn Robinson because I was wondering, are they sisters maybe or cousins?
Mm-hmm.
And one of the videos that shows up in the search, it's for a video from at least 2009. And at a fundraiser for her foundation, Design Care, in 2009, Holly Robinson Peete had the opportunity to live out one of her fantasies, singing with her girls from En Vogue.
See? I told you. My Google foo comes through in the end every time. I'm just saying.
There you have it. It's En Vogue. All right. Next,
that moves us into Space Rabbit. So I get caught with red herrings every once in a while. And yeah, they're talking about this, and I said this before, but I didn't stick to it, but I'm sticking to it now, even though I was flip-floppity on the hippity-hoppity on the rabbit for this thing. So they were talking about how he pumped weights and he does this stuff, and I was like, you know what, LL Cool J does pump weights a lot, and he does have a good ability to mimic the Rastafarian singing style when he wants to. And I was like, so maybe it could be LL Cool J. I mean, it could be. And I was like, no, I'm not locking it in, because then after it was all said and done, that was my guess up until he ended up in the showdown. When he ended up in the showdown and he sang, I was like, that's not LL Cool J. LL Cool J's voice, like when you hear him sing like I Need Love and things like that, he has a very distinctive way of singing when he sings and doesn't rap. And that was not it at all. Not at all. But then I was like, okay, I'm going back to Shaggy. I was like, because this was my first guess. This was my first thought. I'm like, it's Shaggy. Not that Shaggy, but he did redo their theme song, by the way. But I was like, I'm going to go with Shaggy. So I went into Shaggy's wiki and I was like, can I find links to the clues that I have for Shaggy? And sure effing enough, I have a whole list of them for you.
Yeah, I saw those.
So, with it being said, like, basically all the clues, if you link all the clues to his music and not him personally, there's a lot in there that makes sense. One that I didn't realize or remember, which I don't know if I knew this or not, but Shaggy is a former U.S. Marine. That little dog they had in there, which I thought was a pug, may have been there as a little bulldog, because like they won't put a bulldog directly, which could be a reference to him being a Marine, because a bulldog is a symbol of the Marine, a devil dog, right? So maybe that's what that little dog is.
If they could put it in there, because then it could also be a sort of a red herring, because
that's true.
Like, oh wait, there was a bulldog in this other season.
Yeah. So then the red handprint, that's the lyric from It Wasn't Me. I got caught red-handed creeping with the girl next door. Your voice, nope, don't do it. They're just all clues that reference his stuff. So another one that was in there, which I was like, what does a flaming basketball have to do with anything? But he re-released in 2020, which makes it relevant as to why he would do this show, because there's always someone you haven't seen for a while, and all of a sudden they're back in it. He re-released one of his first albums called Hot Shot, which could reference the flaming basketball. So that's a thing. And then the B thing I couldn't make any reference to, and the only thing, like, there's a guy called Sting International who's a producer. And again, this is all from Wiki. I credit Wiki for this because I didn't even know this until I saw Sting, and I was like, did he do something with Sting? I was like, I don't remember ever seeing anything with him and Sting, but he didn't. But there's a guy named Sting International who's a producer. And
there's a person named Sting International?
Yeah. I don't know how that works.
Really?
I mean...
You couldn't come up with another name.
Don't ask me, dude. But
who uses international in their name?
It says that he's a well-known producer in the industry.
He's really well known, apparently.
But there was a B, Sting, in his clue package as well. So maybe, I don't know. That part I don't know, but. Everything leads towards this being Shaggy. Also, did you know that Shaggy played Sebastian in the live version of The Little Mermaid?
I did not know that.
I did not know that too until I read the wiki, and I was like, now I want to see him play Sebastian in The Little Mermaid.
Now you're just going to be looking. For that clue.
I am.
You mentioned that there was a B in that package. Well, B is the first letter and the last name of my pick that I'm still sticking with. Harry Belafonte.
You still going with Harry Belafonte, huh? Even though the Not a Mean thing came up again today in this episode. Yep. He like flat out said it in the clue today.
Okay.
You still think it's Harry Belafonte? Okay.
Still sticking with it. Right, it's cool. Only because I don't have another guess.
I'm locking in Shaggy.
All right. That brings us to elephants.
Baby Mammoth is Look, I know who she is now. But I ain't gonna lie, I have no clue. I could not put any of the clues together until literally Jenny, I think it was, just like made every single clue work out of her butt somehow.
Yeah,
because that wasn't a guess she made before, was it? I don't remember that being a guess.
No, nobody had guessed. I guess we'll just go ahead, since we hadn't done Frog, and we usually say the person gets voted off last till the end. But if you're watching this, you already know anyway. So we'll just continue. Yeah, Cheer was in there. That's obviously a reference. Now that we know, it's a reference to Cheers, the cage thing. I had actually. Now that I know who it is, it's a perfect clue. She used to have a reality show on. It was either on, probably on TLC. This was at least 10, 15 years ago.
A reality
show. Okay. Yeah, and there were scenes at her house, and I do remember there being a lot of animals and caged animals outside, like peacocks and lemurs. I think she even mentioned.
Yeah.
I remember that, and so that's kind of a perfect clue too. It turns out to be, I had Gabrielle Union because everybody kept going Kirsten Dunst,
right? Because
of the Cheer thing. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go opposite direction with this.
What's funny is your guess was based after the Cheer thing, and everyone else's guess was after that Cheer thing, and then it ends up being about Cheers, not cheerleading.
Yeah, but so it turned out to be Kirstie Alley.
So
we got another one wrong.
At an absolute loss on this one. I was just like, I have no idea who this could possibly be. Like, I couldn't even fathom it. And then as soon as she said like all the clues, which let me call Masked Singer on their BS, out of nowhere, with no prompting, no information, no even hint to the fact that this could be this person, she just made a direct connection to every clue in that package and named her by name and got it right in one try.
And also had never mentioned her before.
Right. That's
like, a key thing.
How did you just pull that completely out of your bum for no good reason?
It's because she's a producer on the show. No joke. To me, we've been watching these Vic since season 2, me since season 1. She's a producer on the show. Let's not be stupid about this. She's got to know who these people are.
Right.
So some of her guesses are going to be right, regardless, and how they decide to say, all right, you're going to guess right this time. That's all done behind the scenes. So it's kind of annoying that she is a producer on this show because she does stuff like this, and it's beginning to be very eye rolling,
right?
Especially when they're doing it so often.
Yeah, if you're gonna do it like that, like if you do know, like at least like play it off a little bit so it keeps with the reality aspect of the show. This is technically supposed to be like a reality show. Like you don't get to see who the person is or know who they are or anything like that. And if you are a judge and an executive producer of the show, we know you're in the background all the time and helping to make decisions on what happens with the show. But like at least definitely play it off like you have no clue. Or at least if you're going to reveal that you know who it is, at least play it off so you can play like over the course of the time you figured out who it was. But just dropping clue bombs out of nowhere does not make it seem like a reality show. It makes me go, yeah, you had crib notes and I don't like it.
I mean, we're in week 2 of this group. If she would have at least last week said, it says Cheer, but could it be like Rhea Perlman,
right.
Or
like got her in the ballpark.
Kirstie Alley.
Put her in the ballpark,
Yeah, put her in the ballpark, and then as the weeks progress, as long as they stay on there, then start to say, I don't know, it could be this or this person,
right?
And at least that you're thinking it, and then when you finally make that decision, and if you are going that is going to be your final guess, then it's more believable.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're not believing it. We don't believe that you didn't already know.
The other thing that I thought when she said she had 14 lemurs, I'm like, why wouldn't you have picked the lemur suit? Like I don't know. I mean, I really
don't know if they have a choice.
I also don't think she would have fit in the lemur suit. I don't know if you saw the
frog.
Oh yeah, I've seen the frog waddle. It was there, So. And then finally, the last but not least was the Prince. I'm sticking with my Steph Curry guess, and I'm not abandoning it. I'm going all in on Steph Curry. I don't care who it is. Steph Curry's my answer, and I'm sticking to it. Just because I can't figure out anyone else that would match. I have one clue to play off of. It worked for me with the Hydra, so I'm sticking with Steph Curry, the blue and gold jacket, number 30. Steph Curry being number 30, and me watching Holy Moly. Which again, after watching it, all of the background imagery for Holy Moly is blue and gold. Also.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I had never noticed that before, but after I went back and watched a couple episodes recently, I realized like everything on there is blue and gold.
That's funny.
Like all the artwork, the framing, like everything is blue and gold. I'm like, okay, he leaned real hard into his.
I can't say I wouldn't do the same thing though. I still don't have a guess. So maybe next week I'll have one.
Yeah.
Because we're down to Cobra, Rabbit, and Frog, and
right.
2 of them are going to be gone next week, I'm sure.
And so my prediction from last week is working. I told you, Baby Mammoth was going to go. Then it's going to be Steph Curry, and then it's going to be Shaggy, and then the last one will be Cobra. Last ones left will be Cobra. And that S is not for effect. It's because there's multiples.
and it's going to lead to, next week. I'm willing to say that next week we will see 3 snakes.
Yes.
There won't be 4. I don't know whatever happened to the 4th girl from En Vogue.
Well, there was
because it started out with 4.
Well, no, it started out with 3. It started out with 3 and ended up adding one more person, and then went back down to 3 again. I think that 4th person is who they added into it. I can't remember what her name is. I'll have to look it up for next week.
I thought that in the 90s, when they were big, that En Vogue had 4 of them.
What?
Like the Never Gonna Get It, that song?
Yeah.
I thought they had, My
right.
Love and You're Never Gonna Get It. There's 4 of them in the group. I'm looking at the thumbnail.
Well,
so I don't know what happened to the 4th girl. She must have been like, you know what? I'm too old for this shit. I can't do it. She Danny Glover did.
Well, there's in 2018 there were 3: Terry Ellis, Rona Barrett, and Cindy Harron.
And Dawn Robinson is the one that left. Dawn Robinson was my favorite.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. So like, that could be who it is. So it's probably Dawn Robinson.
No, it wouldn't be her.
You don't think?
She wouldn't be there at all. I don't think she'll be there at all. If it is En Vogue, there's only going to be 3 of them.
There were a total of 6 of them altogether because they kept pulling people in and out. That's what I'm telling you.
Really?
Yeah. So, and Dawn Robinson.
Went through that many lineup changes?
Yeah, Dawn Robinson was one of them, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it may be a matter of it's Dawn Robinson, and that's why Holly Robinson Pete is in there. It may be Dawn Robinson as the actual, like, that's who Queen Cobra is, and the rest of them are all there as a group with her. You see what I'm saying? So, and because there were 6 snakes in that first one, that gives you the total number of people who have been in Vogue. And then it's probably going to be Dawn Robinson because she's the one that would be looking for the thing, and that would connect her to Holly Robinson Pete.
Let's see here. Robinson abrupt departure from En Vogue forced to remain. Despite Robinson's abrupt departure, hold on, I'm trying to backtrack a little bit through this Wikipedia here. Let's see. You'll have to cut a little bit of this out, probably. Yeah, it doesn't really say. It just says her departure, but doesn't say why.
Right.
I don't know. I wish I knew. If anybody knows, please let us know in the comments, because we're clueless. And
we're not clueless. We have tons of clues. We just have to make them match. That's the problem.
We just can't make them match.
But either way, it's En Vogue. I'm putting down that it's En Vogue as a group
for sure.
In general. If the Holly Robinson Pete thing is any indication, then Dawn Robinson would probably be the standout, the one that's the main.
No,
Queen
I don't
Cobra.
think so. I think you're confusing it.
You think?
Yeah, because I think Holly Robinson Pete, like I said, I pulled up the video.
It's just a connection to En Vogue in general.
That's her connection. I think there's only going to be 3 of them show up, and it's going to be the current 3.
Okay.
There's not going to be a Dawn Robinson at all.
Okay. Well, either way, it's En Vogue. That's what I'm naming En Vogue as the main thing. Yep. That's who it is. It's
all right.
En Vogue.
We do want to thank you for watching, and let us know what you thought of our picks. Let us know what you think, who these characters could be. And on behalf of Vic,
my Google foo is strong.
I'm Corey. Thanks for watching. We'll talk to you next time.
See ya!